The belief that moral values are the province of faith, and that no rational, scientific code of ethics is possible, has had disastrous effects in virtually every sphere of human activity. But there is one profession for which the consequences of this belief have been particularly acute: the science of psychology. As a theoretical discipline, psychology is concerned with studying and defining the nature of consciousness or mind, the volitional and automatic functions of mind, the source and nature of emotions, the principles of character formation, the principles of motivation, and so forth. As a therapeutic discipline, it is concerned with the diagnosis and treatment of the malfunctions of consciousness, of mental and emotional disturbances, of character and motivational disorders. Central to the science of psychology is the issue and the problem of motivation. The base of the science is the need to answer two fundamental questions. Why does a man act as he does? What would be required for a man to act differently? These questions are directed not only at man's physical actions, but at the actions of his consciousness, at the whole of his mental life. The key to motivation lies in the realm of values. Within the context of his inherent needs and capacities as a specific kind of living organism, it is man's premises, specifically his value premises, that determine his actions and emotions. Whether his value premises are rational or contradictory and self-defeating, whether they are held consciously or subconsciously, whether they are explicit or implicit, whether they were chosen independently and by deliberation, or were uncritically absorbed from other men by a process of cultural osmosis, it is a man's notion of what is for him or against him, what is conducive or inimical to his welfare, that determines the goals he will pursue and the emotions he will experience. An emotion is the psychosomatic form in which man experiences his estimate of the relationship of things to himself. An emotion, then, is a value response. It is the automatic psychological result of a man's value judgments. Man's value judgments are not innate. Having no innate knowledge of what is true or false, man can have no innate knowledge of what is good or evil. His values and his emotions are the product of the conclusions he has drawn or accepted, that is, of his basic premises. If man chooses values that are consonant with the facts of reality and with the needs of his own nature, these values will work in the service of his life. If he chooses values that are in contradiction to the facts of reality and to his nature, they will work for his own destruction. No man whose values were consistently irrational could continue to exist, of course. The majority of men hold values that are part rational, part irrational, part consonant with and part inimical to man's nature and needs. And they spend their lives in anxiously precarious fluctuation between life and destruction, neither dying immediately nor achieving their full human potential. They pay the price of their unresolved contradictions in frustration, in misery, and in neurosis. The existence of neurosis, of mental and emotional disturbances, is one of the most eloquent proofs that man needs an integrated, objective code of moral values, that a haphazard collection of subjective or collective whims will not do, that a rational ethical system is as indispensable to man's psychological survival as it is to his existential survival. The paradox and the tragedy of psychology today is that values is the one issue specifically banned from its domain. The majority of psychologists, both as theoreticians and as psychotherapists, have accepted the premise that the realm of science and the realm of ethics are mutually inimical, that morality is a matter of faith, not of reason, that moral values are inviolately subjective, and that a therapist must cure his patients without appraising or challenging their fundamental moral beliefs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this premise that I ask you to challenge. Guilt, anxiety, and self-doubt, the neurotic's chronic complaints, entail moral judgments. The psychotherapist must deal with such judgments constantly. The conflicts that torture patients are moral conflicts. Is sex evil, or is it a proper human pleasure? Is the profit motive evil, or do men have the right to pursue their own interests? Must one love and forgive everybody, or is it ever justifiable to feel violent indignation? Must man blindly submit to the teachings of his religious authorities, or dare he subject their pronouncements to the judgment of his own intellect? Is it one's duty to remain with the husband or wife one despises, or is divorce a valid solution? Should a woman regard motherhood as her noblest function and duty, or may she pursue an independent career? Is man his brother's keeper, or does he have the right to live for his own happiness?